What is going on, everybody? I am Rob Westerman, the third of GP Daily, and thank you for tuning in to the Rob Westerman Show. You can find me all over the social sphere at GBP Daily. Shoot me a follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I would greatly, greatly appreciate that. Hit me up in the DMs. I am always available to talk Packers anytime, any day, and today is Friday. Happy Friday. Hope y'all are staying warm out there. Currently 18 below where I am at, which is about 4 hours from Lambeau. It is a cold one. That is for sure. 2 weeks into the off season, just about. How's everybody doing? What's the vibe? Are we over this past year? Are we still hurting from the choke against Chicago? 21-3 at half, missed field goal before halftime by Brandon McManus, who hopefully won't be on the team next year. How we doing? Let me know in the comments section. Matt LaFleur, things that have been happening since the season ended. Matt LaFleur has been extended, as we all know. He's our guy for the foreseeable future. Same goes for Goody. Both moves that I am in support of. To those not in support of extending Matt, I do understand your sentiment, but I'm not sure there was a better option out there on the market, unless you're wanting to risk the Jordan Love era on a guy with no proven head coaching experience, right? A hire like when we brought in Matt, who was an OC up until he became our head coach. I think it makes sense to keep Matt, keep the chemistry that he's got with Jordan in the offense. Things definitely that need to be cleaned up, right? There are some things, time management being seemingly the most important one. Next up, the coaching staff around him. And yes, I am talking to you, Rich Bisaccia. I am talking to Luke Butkus, Adam Stenovich. Hopefully there will be some changes, because if what I keep hearing is true, that the NFL is a results-driven business, the results of our special teams units, game in and game out, and the results of our offensive line play, those do not grant for those guys to continue being in charge. That's my 2 cents, but we shall see what the Packers ultimately do here over the next couple weeks, couple months, as far as the coaching staff around Matt goes. As for Brian, I like Goody. I think he was a no-brainer as far as getting an extension. Between him and Matt, I think Matt had the better chance of being moved on from. But as I said, they both get signed. And, yeah, Goody, the smooth transition from Rodgers to Love, and having Love in the ranks waiting, obviously something Goody himself did. You know, he ultimately decided to take Love when he did. And along with parting ways with all the veterans that we had and going with the young guns. You know, we had the youngest team in the NFL for a couple of years straight, made the playoffs both of those years. And even this past year, we had a pretty young team, still made the playoffs. And I'm not hanging banners for making the playoffs, but given the circumstances, I think they've done pretty well. I think he's done a good enough job to get us into contention for a Super Bowl. And ultimately, that's all that matters, right? So we don't hang banners for division titles. We don't hang banners for winning playoff games. We need to bring the Lombardi back home, and that should be the only focus. And I think that is the only focus. So this past year, though, I thought was, the first year that, we can get the job done. We have the squad to be Super Bowl contenders. It wasn't the best team that we ever had, of course, but considering the landscape of the NFL, there not being a juggernaut team, especially on the NFC side, I thought we had the guys to get it done. And then, as we all know, Tucker Kraft went down. Elton Jenkins went down. Even though he wasn't playing his best ball at center, I think the ripple effect of him going down and guys having to move around, as we all saw, was not good. Josh Jacobs missed time. Jordan Love missed time. Jaden Reed was out for the majority of the year. Micah Parsons went down. Rashawn Gary decided to, disappear and take off the second half of the season. And just like that, we backed into the playoffs on a 4-game losing streak, which is crazy that that's even a possibility. And then as we are all too freshly wounded from one and done against our rivals. So got to come back next year with hopefully a guy or two from the draft that can plug in right away, specifically at cornerback and offensive line, and try and run it back with better injury luck. I think we'll have a good enough squad to do just that. So anybody planning on going to a Bucks game this winter, maybe a Badgers basketball game, maybe a Brewers game this summer? If so, do not buy your tickets anywhere else other than TickPick. They guarantee the cheapest tickets on the market. And if you find cheaper tickets elsewhere, they will refund you 110% of your money back. Same tickets as everybody else: StubHub, SeatGeek, Vivid Seats, Game Time, Ticketmaster, all those guys. And TickPick is the cheapest every single time. Shout out to TickPick. They are the best in the biz. Let's hop into the comment section here, shall we? And as always, if you want to be a part of the show, give me a call on the Nicolet Law hotline, 319-242-2332. The Midwest personal injury law firm that actually shows up when you need them. If you have been hurt in a crash, fall, or another accident, the last thing you want to deal with is the insurance companies and the paperwork. Nicolet Law takes it off your plate so you can focus on healing up. They walk you through your options. They handle the insurance companies and fight to get you what is fair. No upfront fees, no guesswork, just local attorneys who have your back. Call 1-800-NICOLET or visit nicolet.com. What is up in the chat? Happy Friday. Happy second week of the offseason for us Packers fans. There's been a decent amount of stuff happening with the Packers, right, over the last week and a half or so. Matt gets extended. Brian gets extended. Jeff Hafley departs and goes to Miami. John Eric Sullivan also goes to Miami. So we are in need of a defensive coordinator. There's been interviews had. There will continue to be more interviews, and hopefully sooner rather than later we can get our guy. But not sure who that will be just yet. What do we got in the comment section? Tracy starting us off. Who are you rooting for this weekend? Excuse me. I've been kind of going back and forth. I want to see Devontae get a ring. Part of me does. And I know this might be an unpopular opinion, but he chose to leave us, right? So there's a little part of disappointment whenever I talk about Devontae. He was one of, if not one of my favorite players to watch during my lifetime. He was so good. Professional through and through, carried the G like no other, but he chose to leave. And I understand his buddy Raj was no longer on the team, but he left. And it's not like he got pushed out either. We didn't offer him what he wanted right away. I think if I remember correctly, they offered him the same or maybe a little more than the Raiders did, if I remember correctly. And he still chose to leave. He wanted to go play with Derek Carr out in Las Vegas or Oakland or whatever they were at the time. He didn't want to play with Jordan, clearly. And, yeah, he left. So, and like I said, he's one of my favorite players. I had a chance to meet him. Not sure if you can see it here. But right there, 17. Got a chance to meet him before a Packers game. He signed my jersey of his. And, yeah, great. One of my favorites to watch, Devontae. But I don't know. I like Drake May. I like the Patriots. And I know they just got done with, being one of the best dynasties ever behind Vince's Packers, of course, in the 60s. But a whole new squad over there in New England. I like Mike Vrabel. I wouldn't mind seeing them bring it home. The Seahawks, Sam Darnold, I have nothing really against them. I just don't think it would be that fun rooting for them. And I still may be a little hurt from anything Seahawks related after what happened back in 2014. So I was rooting for the Bills. But I think now I am pulling for the Patriots. The Broncos, I don't think they have any shot, with no Bo Nix. And yeah, so I'm going to go with the Patriots. That's who I'm rooting for this weekend. Tracy, let me know who you're rooting for in the comment section. Liam, Jeff Hafley bringing the Dolphins back? Liam, he definitely could. I think he'll be a good head coach. Do I think he was maybe a little overrated? Maybe. Was he great in every presser that he was in, talking in front of? Absolutely. You knew he was going to be a head coach at some point. But I do think maybe he was a little overrated. And I think once Micah went down, we saw how much just Micah Parsons was covering up. So not sure how anybody can be happy with anyone associated with the defense outside of Micah after what happened, specifically during the second half of the season. And as far as the entire season goes, the lack of turnovers, that Dallas Cowboys game, even the Cardinals game where Jacoby Brissett looked like Joe Montana, the defense was not up to snuff this year. And I saw Jacob Morley talking about this on Twitter, about bringing in a defensive coordinator with a more like chaos type approach, calling the game with the goal of creating turnovers, taking the chaos at the opposing offense, as opposed to limiting the explosive plays, letting teams dink and dunk down the field like we have been over the past couple of years, letting them pretty much just paper cut you to death. I am tired of that, and it has not worked, clearly, especially in the playoffs. Gave up 25 fourth quarter points to the Bears. I want someone getting turnovers so Jordan Love and the offense have extra chances to put points on the board. And even if that means giving up, a few more explosive plays, I'll take it. And we saw Jordan and the offense when close to full strength or at full strength. They can move the ball, no problem. And giving them extra chances is only going to increase our chance to win. And hey, if we give up explosive plays that turn into touchdowns, at least it is taking a lot less time than the dink and dunk, 15 play, 10-minute drives that ultimately half the time end up in touchdowns anyways. At least we are getting the ball back quick. The opposing defense that we're going up against doesn't have much time to sit on the bench and rest. Give me a guy who is the main goal is creating turnovers and getting the ball back to our offense, because I am tired of watching teams just dink and dunk down the field and ultimately scoring one way or another, whether that's a field goal or a touchdown. So I'm with Jacob Morley on that 100%. But yes, Jeff Hafley, though, I think he'll be a good head coach. And yeah, Miami got themselves a good one. I do think so. You saw his presser yesterday, and it's just impossible not to like him, right? You see and hear the passion. He's authentic. He didn't have any notes down or anything, which, is somewhat to be expected because he is such a great speaker. And yeah, he gave a great speech yesterday as he was introduced as the Miami head coach. Yeah, I think he's going to build a great culture there, and we will see it firsthand next season when Miami comes to Green Bay during the regular season. So John Eric Sullivan at the helm as GM is a great move for them as well. I know my Dolphins fans are happy. I know my buddy and brother Mitchell is jacked. A little bit of a culture change coming to Miami, and I think it's going to be good for them. I think they're going to be pretty good moving forward. So thank you, Liam, for hopping in. Appreciate you as always. What else we get? What else we got? Ike, Jim Leonard, a possibility? It sounds like it, Ike. Matt reportedly wants to interview him, and they can next week. As you may know, he is currently with the Broncos right now, so we will not be able to hire him officially until their season is done, which most likely will probably be this after Sunday, right? They're without Bo Nix. They got Jarrett Stidham starting at quarterback. But either way, whatever happened last time we tried to hire him, whether he turned that offer down or wasn't interested, or I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I don't think the Packers can afford to put all their eggs in his basket, right? In the case that he may not want to be the DC. But I would be in favor of him coming on board. I liked him at Wisconsin. I'm a Badgers fan, like most of you. He should have gotten the head coaching gig. And as we've seen with Fickle, you've got to think that would have been a better outcome. But I guess we'll never know. But yeah, I think he's a possibility. All right, guys, that is going to do it for me today. Thank you again for tuning in. Always, always, always love talking Packers with you guys. Hit me up on social media at GBP Daily. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I would greatly, greatly appreciate that right there. It's a button. It's free. It helps me out a ton. Any sort of interaction helps myself and helps the page. I will be back and at it again on Monday. So thank you again for tuning in. Have yourself a great weekend. Stay warm, and I will catch you guys later. Thank you.